magical people, Manny the Mage here, and today we are back with some Valheim. As you can see, we are in the Ashlands, which is the newest biome to be added to Valheim. If you read the title of today's video, you'd know that with a new biome in Valheim comes new monsters. And where there's new monsters, there's another installment of our Valheim Monster Battle Arena series. Alright, now here we are in my little makeshift rinky-dink Monster Battle Arena. You know, nothing too fancy. If you're familiar with this series, I think less is more. Also, ain't nobody got time for that. I was thinking for these battles, I'm going to start off with individual enemies against each other, and then eventually moved on to group battles. And I'm just doing this to get an assessment for how strong each individual mob from each biome is in relation to each other before stacking them in the group. You guys get it. So with that, let's go ahead and get our first contender spawned in here. And that would be the Charred Twitcher. This is one of the new, I guess, skeleton enemies, you could call him. There's about 3 different types of this charred type of enemy, and we're going to go through all of them and see how they rank against each other. So, against the Charred Twitcher, we have a good old classic, and that's going to be a Verger Rogue. Oh my god. Wow. Okay, that's some serious damage coming off of that crossbow. Let's just see how this fight unfolds, I guess. It's a lot more even once the Verger Rogue is able to get actual attacks in. There we go. That's crazy. It's almost a completely different fight when the Verger is prepared. But with that battle done and over with, we're gonna go ahead and clean the slate and start a new one here. So, goodbye, friend. Okay, so for the next battle, we have a 1-star Verger Rogue. And the reason why I'm putting him at 1-star is because the next Ashlands monster I'm going to summon in, I believe, is stronger than the last one we summoned. So let's hope that this kind of evens the playing field here. And we have a Charred Warrior. So far, things seem pretty amicable here. Oh, okay. Now they've locked in on each other. And it is about even. That's kind of how I thought it would end up being. The Charred Warrior actually has a little bit more damage on him, which is interesting. Didn't expect it to be that way, but they're slowly chunking away at each other's health here. Okay. All right. So it looks like the Verger Rogue at 1-star is pretty evenly matched with the Charred Warrior. That'll be kind of important to keep in mind when we start to group these enemies up. But good work to the Verger Rogue. He's kind of stacked. You know, like under that hood, he's kind of swole, I'll be honest with you. But as always, we got to clean the slate. Goodbye. All right, and for this next match, we have a 1-star Verger Ice Mage. I specifically chose the Ice Mage because I have a feeling that things in this biome are going to be weak to ice as opposed to fire. But we're going to pair him against the Charred Warlock. Immediately, the Charred Warlock goes to summon some help, I believe. Yeah, he's got a Twitcher there. Alright, the Twitcher did do some serious damage to the Mage, and I think the Mage is taking some chip damage from some of those spells that the Warlock is doing. I guess maybe that's like poison, something like that. But down goes the Verger Ice Mage, and we are left with the Charred Warlock. So that was really interesting. It did seem like the ice damage was maybe having a bigger impact on the Charred Warlock, so I guess something to keep in mind as well if you're going through the Ashlands biome. Maybe have an ice staff on you. It might come in handy. But with that battle out of the way, it is on to the next one. For this next fight, we're actually going to spawn in one of the, it looks like mountable mobs from what I could tell from the trailer, and Asvin. I don't know if I'm saying that right. They look like just sort of a big old neck, you know, just a neck who went to the gym. But against the Asvin, we're gonna go ahead and spawn in a regular Seeker. I just want to see how the regular Seekers interact with this enemy. Oh no! Okay, all right, a little less damage taken. But they seem to be pretty matched as well, damage by damage wise. Yeah, they're each doing about the same amount of damage. Wow, and the Seeker won. Okay. All right, with just a little bit of health left. So So that kind of tells me that most of the mobs in the Ashlands seem to be about at the same level of damage and health as 1-star enemies from the Mistlands. So maybe that trend continues. We have been seeing that, but we'll see as more battles continue here. Okay, so this next enemy, I've been excited just looking from the trailer. It seems to be one of the most unique enemies that I've seen in the game so far, and I'm really interested on and actually seeing it in action. Now, I've spawned it in, and as you can see, the field is empty. It's not until I touch down on the ground that the Morgan spawns in. Look at this thing. This thing is crazy. Its moveset is nuts. It reminds me of like an Elden Ring enemy or something like that. But let me go ahead and quickly turn ghost mode back on, and then we'll summon its competitor, who's just going to be one normal seeker soldier. Now I did kind of spawn them far away from each other. Hopefully they can kind of lock in and engage. Oh, here we go. All right, so we have the Morgan doing its thing, moving around. This thing is very interesting to see in action. A little nightmarish, I'll be honest with you. But they do seem to be pretty evenly matched. The Morgan... Oh, okay, alright, hold on. It would seem that the Seeker Soldier's biggest weakness in this fight seems to be range. It looks like it's trying to hit the Morgan, but the hitbox for the Morgan is not necessarily how it should be, or doesn't seem to line up with where the Seeker Soldier is hitting. There we go. So from what I could tell, it seemed like the Morgan's big strength against the Seeker Soldier was the fact that it was able to get more hits off animation-wise, and its range is really long with these crazy limbs that it's got. So something to keep in mind, while that Morgan, I guess, is damaged, I want to try to maybe spawn a 2-star Seeker Soldier and see if maybe like the damage he gets off is any better by comparison. Okay, all the new build pieces. I'm filming, please. All right, and down goes the Morgan, and I'm still getting more grouse stone pieces that it's telling me I can build. So it is interesting to see the 1-star was able to hold its own a little bit more. To be fair, the Morgan did have a little bit of damage off the top from its first fight, but from what I can see, it does seem consistent, right? The 1-star Seeker Soldier is able to deal with the Morgan a little bit better. But yeah, let's go ahead and clear the decks for the next battle here. But before we continue on, I do want to kind of address some enemies I'm going to be omitting. One of them is the lava blob, just because that is a normal blob with now fire effects on it. So it's not something we necessarily haven't seen before. And I'm probably going to be omitting the vulture, just because I think there's already a flying enemy that is new and unique enough, that is also pretty similar to the vulture, that I want to see in action first here. So that said, this might be a little bit tricky spawning in wise, but let's see if I can't do it real quick. Okay, so we have one gal. Please stay there. And while that gal is buffering, I'm going to go ahead and spawn in a fallen Valkyrie. Hopefully they aggro each other. It looks like the fallen Valkyrie is aggroed at least. All right. Interesting air battle we got going on here. Please don't destroy my portal. I'd be a little salty about that. Yeah, again, they seem pretty equal in terms of damage output. The one thing it seems like is that the Fallen Valkyrie might have more movesets than the Gyal. Seems like the Gyal really only has projectile attacks, but they are pretty strong. They leave a fire effect, which does some chip damage, so we'll see how it stacks up here. but from the looks of it, the Gyal, or at least the 1-star Gyal, was strong enough to hold up against the Fallen Valkyrie. It was pretty close there, but as far as air supremacy, the Gyal still has it. And the Gyal is starting to pick other fights, so let me go ahead and get you out of here real quick. Alright, and I just wanted to also give an honorable mention to another Ashlands monster that was added called a Skug. S-K-U-G-G. That was at least on the list that I saw of new mobs added, but when I go to try to type it into dev commands, it doesn't know what I'm talking about. So if you guys have ran into a Skug or know what they are or know what the ID for them is, let me know in the comments down below. But I think it is time for our group battles. So let me go ahead and get the first team spawned in here. All right, so we have a full Verger Mage team, all 1-star. Wow. Wow. So against the full team at 1-star, the Char team was no match. I am pretty interested, so I'm going to run that back again with normal Vergers and see what results yield. And there we have it. That was pretty definitive. It seems like even without the star, the Verger Mages are still pretty powerful. Personally, I think that they're probably just able to get their attacks off a lot quicker than the Charred guys. They definitely seemed a little slow, which kind of fits into the undead theme. Plus, the Verger Mage does cast support, which is probably pretty helpful. But yeah, interesting to see here. So let's go ahead and clear out and get on to the next one. Alright, and we are down to, again, just the Morgan and the Seeker Soldier. So it seems like the defense of the 1-star Seeker Soldier is significantly higher than the normal Seeker Soldier. Because the Morgan's barely, ouch, but it looks like the Morgan is on the ropes here. And there goes the Morgan. All right, so that tracks. We saw the Seeker Soldier win against the individual battle with the Morgan. So I think it's safe to say the Seeker Soldier is the strongest. But with that said, we are on to the last fight of today's video. There's just one Fallen Valkyrie left now. It seems as if a 1-star Gyal is enough for even a Fallen Valkyrie. And there goes the Fallen Valkyrie. Let's go ahead and get them out of here. So with that, it looks like we have reached the end of today's video. If you guys liked it, be sure to hit that like button. If you're new here, you might as well subscribe. And let me know in the comment sections down below if you guys want to see more Ashlands beta content here on the channel. I'm definitely very interested in covering it, but just let me know if that's something you guys would be interested in too. And lastly, let me know what you guys are most interested in and most excited for going into the Ashlands update. I've been Manny the Mage, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.